I'm an occupational therapist by background, and I've worked in mental health for about the last 10 years. And I came to mindfulness, I guess, about 5 years ago. I can see some of you are tucking into the raisins, which is fine, but just make sure you leave a few, because we're going to be eating the raisins mindfully in a minute. So I don't want you to all eat them first. What was I saying? Yes, I came to mindfulness about 5 years ago, I would say. And for me personally, it changed my life completely. I could not imagine talking to all of you people like 5 years ago. This would have just been very scary. It's still a little bit scary, but this would have been, I just couldn't have done this. So for me, it's very life-changing, yes. So I want you now, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to, it's up to you. And I want you to imagine that you're a caveman or a cave woman, and I want you to think about all the predators that are close by. It could be saber-toothed tigers, what are they ones called, woolly mammoths, and maybe some other villagers nearby that perhaps your villagers don't get on with. Think about all the dangers that we need to be alert to. And if we didn't think about this, you probably wouldn't survive as a caveman or cavewoman. So you can open your eyes now. So our brains have basically evolved to look out for threats. We're always looking out for dangers, which is fine back in the cave days, but now we've moved on a bit. We're not really having so many physical threats to our life, but our brain hasn't really caught up with this. And this is what I think it's neuropsychologists call the negativity bias. So we're always focusing on threats. So, got here my frying pan and my shoe. I don't always carry these around me. This is my little boy's shoe. Don't worry, this is an old shoe, so he's not hopping around or anything. And basically, I've written it down because I always forget his name. There's a man called Dr. Rick Hanson, who's a neuropsychologist. And he says the brain is like Velcro for negative experiences. As you can see, it's very, very sticky. So negative experiences stick with us and stay with us. And for positive experiences, this is a really old pan, but imagine that it's Teflon coated and it just slips right off. So positive experiences are a lot harder to stay with us. So basically that's why I brought my pan and my shoe along, or my little boy's shoe. So what can we do about this? That's why I'm here for today, to talk about mindfulness. And this guy is called John Kabat-Zinn, this is his definition of mindfulness. He's sort of a leading mindfulness practitioner who develops these 8-week courses that people are probably starting to hear a lot about now. So his definition, I'm just going to read it, is paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. It's quite a lot to say there. When I did this slide, I obviously had to think about gorillas. There's another gorilla who's going to pop up later. I think I just thought he looked quite mindful there. So basically, mindfulness for me means paying attention on purpose and trying not to judge what you're experiencing. So, for example, we're going to have a go at this later about eating our raisin mindfully. When we're normally eating, often we might eat in front of the TV or have dinner while we're chatting to our family or friends. We're not really experiencing what's going on. So eating something mindfully would be thinking about the taste and the textures as you're eating. And your brain is still going to have thoughts and get, wander off. And that's okay, and being mindful is just about coming back to whatever it is that you're doing. My little autopilot guy. We live in a really, really busy world. Our minds are always active, always doing something. So I want you to try and, you don't have to tell me, but try and think of the last time you did nothing. Just absolutely nothing. Not going on your phone or on the internet or chatting to your friend or, I don't know, got any other examples? Yeah, listening to the radio, just doing nothing. I can't really remember the last time. Well, actually, I've just been on a retreat, so I did quite a lot of doing nothing. For most of us, we don't do that a lot because we live on autopilot. So we are not aware of what's happening. Things just happen to us and we start to react in our habitual ways. We don't really think about how we're reacting. So I don't know if any of you experienced maybe when you're driving to the shops that you always drive to, somehow you just end up there. You don't know how you got there, you don't really remember anything that happened on the way, but you're there. So you're on autopilot. So using mindfulness, we can hopefully begin to start recognising the triggers for unhelpful behaviour and becoming aware of our thoughts and feelings and how they go over time. I just really like the trees. That's the essence of mindfulness, is being rather than doing. So we are actually human beings, so we're not human doings, but we do spend a lot of our time doing things. So the doing mode is things like problem solving, being analytical, planning ahead, making judgments, goal setting, that kind of thing. And obviously that is really helpful in our lives. We need quite a lot of that, don't we? My windscreen, I just realised it's broken on the way here. So I'm going to need to fix that. And obviously I can't fix that myself, I have no idea, so I'm going to have to call someone, I'm going to have to plan. I'm going to have to pick up the phone and make someone come over and fix it. So that's helpful. But not all of our problems are simply as easy to fix as my windscreen, unfortunately. So what we need to start using is using the being mode. And that's a lot more receptive. And when it comes to changing this aspect of ourselves, we need to start basically being aware. I'm saying a lot of the same things, but basically that's because I'm trying to make the point is that that's what mindfulness is all about, starting to be aware. So what it isn't, just thought I'd put this in because some people have, I guess, misconceptions about what mindfulness is. It does come from Buddhism, and I guess it was made into sort of a secular form so that people who are religious can still come to use mindfulness, and people who are not religious can still use it. It's not just positive thinking or another relaxation technique. We're being aware of all thoughts and feelings, not just positive but the negative too. We're not going to go into a trance or try and blank your mind. And if I asked you all now, which I'm not going to, but just imagine, to sit here for like 2 minutes or something and close your eyes and not have any thoughts. I don't think there's probably one of you that could do that. I think there'd all be, you'd have some thoughts in 2 minutes. And actually, I think you'd probably be surprised at how many thoughts that you have, because I've tried that and I have loads of thoughts. Even in like 30 seconds, there's a lot of thoughts that are going on in there. This is when you get to try your raisins. So there should be a box of raisins somewhere, and I've got some more, and then you can share them out to make sure everyone's got a raisin. Does anybody need a raisin that hasn't got one? I want you to close your eyes again if you feel comfortable, and I want you to hold your raisin in your hand. And I want you to feel it, feel all the different textures. Just really experience what it feels like. I'm going to use my apricot here to do that. And then when you're ready, I want you to open your eyes and have a look at it. I want you to pretend that you're an alien and you've never ever seen a raisin or an apricot before in your life. And really look at it, really study it. You might be having some thoughts at this time, thinking, oh, what's she going on about? This is a bit silly. Why are we doing this? But they're just thoughts, they're not facts. And we're just going to return to what we're doing, just looking at our raisin. You might still be feeling it as well and touching it. And when you're ready, I want you to bring it up to your nose and smell it. Does it have a smell? And when you're smelling it, is there anything that's interesting that's happening in your mouth or your stomach? I feel like you're going to get ready to eat this soon. Maybe you're sort of almost salivating. And then what I want you to do, I want you to put it in your mouth but don't eat it. So just put it in your mouth and I guess feel it in your mouth. Explore it with your tongue and see what happens. And then when you're ready, still don't swallow it, maybe take a bite and chew it a little bit. Just notice where it is when you're actually chewing it. Whereabouts is it in your mouth when you're chewing it? And then finally, you're allowed to swallow it. So just notice that feeling as you eat it. What does it feel like? I'm going to eat my apricot next, and we'll do that. Does anyone want to tell me how they found that? Maybe anyone's brave enough to say anything about that experience at all? Once you finished eating your raisins?
Really tasted it for a change.
Yeah?
Or saliva.
Saliva, yeah, I noticed it. Did you notice it before you put it in your mouth? No. I think when I first did this exercise, that's what I noticed. So it actually tasted of something. And I didn't even think I really liked raisins that much. I still don't really like raisins that much, but it did actually taste a bit different to what I was expecting, because I think I was actually, for once, really tasted it. And that's especially, in my life, I've got 2 very small children, toddlers, and so I eat really, really quickly because I need to get, do stuff with them. And I actually realised I'm not actually enjoying my food, I'm just eating because I need to eat. So that really sort of highlighted something that made me think. So you might be wondering, see, it's another gorilla, I don't know what I was thinking. You might be wondering, what's this all got to do with stress? How is eating a raisin mindfully going to help me with stress? Unfortunately, stressful things happen, and I can't take that away from you, and I'm sure you've tried, and we can't stop stressful things happening. Sometimes as I was on my way here, I got lost, and then I got stuck in traffic, so that was a little bit stressful. Sometimes it's a bit more serious than that. Sometimes we're just actually feeling really low about something that's happened. Or sometimes there's nothing particularly that's happened. We're just feeling really low or really anxious. And what we call that in sort of mindfulness is the primary experience. I'm going to have go writing, and I have really bad writing. So that says primary experience. That's my bad writing. And as I said, there's nothing we can do about this. However, the problem is, it's not only the primary experience we have to deal with, it's all the stuff that we put on top of that, which is what we call secondary experience. So that's thoughts and feelings and negative judgments. And I'm going to give you a really quick example of myself again, and about giving this presentation. Well, I'm quite anxious about giving presentations. And that's my primary experience, that's the fear that I can feel in my actual body. But then I put a lot of secondary stuff onto that. I put on, wow, what about if I forget what I'm going to say? What about if I just can't do it? What about if I freeze in front of everybody? Well, I think I'm just really rubbish. Well, I don't know anything about mindfulness, what am I going to do? And so I'm putting some extra secondary stuff, and actually the page isn't probably big enough for all my extra stuff that I'm going to put on there today. But, however, I've learnt this wonderful thing called mindfulness. And what that can help me with is getting back to the primary experience. So by using meditation and being aware, I'm going to get back here by thinking about my primary experience, which is the anxiety in my body and how that feels inside. And I'm going to breathe into it, and that really helps. And also it's about exploring where that comes from in my body. It's quite hard to sort of explain this, that's why we're going to have a little go at the meditation in a minute. So basically I'm still feeling under pressure to do this presentation, and I really hope this is all making sense to people. But actually, because I was mindful before this, I haven't got all this stuff. So I'm still a good and worthwhile person, even if I don't have all of that. Even if I do mess up a little bit, I'm still a good person, and I know that inside. I don't have to have all this negative stuff around here. So I'm still under pressure, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Now, what's next? Okay. So, just a little bit about what mindfulness might look like if you're still feeling confused. There's kind of formal mindfulness and informal. So informal is a bit of what we've just done about eating mindfully. So it's things that you can do every single day that don't take up any extra time because you do them already. So one of them is I love having a mindful shower in the morning. I used to have a shower in the morning and think, right, what do I need to do today? I've got this on, I've got to go and call my sister, I've got to go to the shops, blah, 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 blah. Now, sometimes that happens, but I get in the shower and I try and experience what's the temperature of the water, how does that feel on my body? This is the shampoo. I'm going to smell the shampoo. That smells really good. And I might have a thought, I do have to call my sister. Oh, I'm aware, I'm having a thought. I'm coming back to the experience in the shower right now. So there's sort of the informal practices we can do, and one of them people always say is brushing your teeth, because everyone brushes their teeth, hopefully, once or twice a day. Formal meditation. In mindfulness, we often use breath meditation and something called the body scan. They're sort of the main ones that we use. And they can start off being really, really short. When I did my 8-week sort of first mindfulness course, they started off 10 minutes and then it sort of went up to 20 minutes. And you can get CDs and they can be in books which you get from the library, which are completely free, so you don't have to spend loads of money to do that. And they've put there mindful movement. So on the courses as well, you also sort of learn some kind of movement. And it's almost sort of something like yoga or Tai Chi, those kind of things, but you're not using it as exercise, you're doing the movements mindfully, so you're feeling your body as you're doing them. And I'm actually training under a company called Breathworks, who do it not only for stress, but also for people with chronic health conditions, people who are in chronic pain. So these sort of movements that we do can be very, very small. It's not, like massive lunges or anything. It could be turning your wrist and feeling that. So it's about being mindful, not exercising. There's a deliberate, well, it's not deliberate, but there is a mistake in here. It says MCBT and it's meant to be MBCT. So the first one is mindfulness-based stress reduction. So this is sort of a generic 8-week course, which is the one that I did, mainly for stress, but there are also ones now for chronic pain, people who have physical long-term health conditions. But the medication's not going to do anything now, so they need something else. These are 8-week programs. And then mindfulness-based cognitive therapy has been specifically designed for preventing relapse from depression. And it blends CBT, which I think somebody spoke about earlier, with the mindfulness principles. What else was I going to say? Oh yes, I wrote it down here so I didn't forget. There has been loads and loads of research saying how brilliant mindfulness is. And I didn't want to just talk through all of that because it's a bit dull, even though it's really important. But I thought it was actually better to actually do a quick mindfulness meditation. But I'm just going to read some of these out, and you can find these in every single book or on the internet or wherever you look. But it can help reduce stress and anxiety. It can help reduce the risk of depressive relapse, and it can improve your attention, your memory. It can help us feel kindness for others and ourselves, which I think is really important, feeling kindness for ourselves. And I think sometimes it's something that we find hard. It can help you fall asleep quicker and stay asleep for longer. It can reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke. It can make improvements in physical conditions such as IBS and chronic fatigue syndrome. It can improve the body's ability to fight infection, boosts empathy and makes us less judgmental. So that's a long, long list there. And as I said, you can sort of look those up if you're interested yourself. But now, hopefully we've got time to do some guided meditation, so I'm going to take a seat for this. So if you've got any paper or coats or things on your lap, it might be an idea just to tuck it underneath your chair so you can get comfortable. And if you can, put both of your feet on the floor, like cross-legged or whatever feels comfortable for you. And if you don't want to do this meditation, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to. I'm not going to make you do anything you don't want to. And normally we close our eyes when we meditate, and that's just because it's a bit distracting, especially for me because everyone's looking at me. But you don't have to close your eyes, so do whatever makes you feel comfortable. So thinking about your posture, we want something that's sort of dignified, I guess, but relaxed, but still alert, so I don't really want you guys to fall asleep. And try, and you're sitting on a chair, which is why I chose the breath meditation. So try and let your body sink into gravity. You still want to be alert and dignified, but just let the chair take your weight. That's what the chair is for. And I want you just to start to become aware that you're breathing. Maybe have a think about where you can feel your breath in your body. We don't have to try and force your breath or breathe in any kind of controlled way. Just allow your breath to be as natural as possible. You've been breathing all through all of this, so just breathe as you would normally. I want you to take your awareness down to your rib cage. Try and feel the movement of the breath as you breathe in and as you breathe out. So we're trying to actually feel the breath. We're not visualising the breath coming in and coming out. We're actually feeling the movement of the breath in our body. If you take your awareness now down to your tummy, and this swells and subsides as you breathe in and as you breathe out. You might be having some thoughts now, trying to take you away from the breath meditation. And that's fine, that's just what brains do, that's what minds do. So don't beat yourself up about this or worry about it. Just bring your breath, bring your mind back to the breath. You can move your awareness now to your back. Actually, the back also moves with the breath. Resting your awareness on the lower back. The movement's it's more subtle than the front. You might still be able to feel the breath moving. Moving up to the middle of the back, feeling the breath in and out. And moving up to the upper back, shoulder blades. You may notice that the rhythm of your breath is changing. From time to time, or even breath to breath. If you're having any distracting thoughts, remember that's okay. Just come back to the breath when you realise. Moving up to the nose now, this might be where your breath's coming in. I wonder if you can notice when your breath comes in, it might be slightly cooler around your nose, and then warmer on the out breath. As you breathe out, you may feel the breath on the top of your lip. Or you might be breathing in through your mouth. You might be able to feel the breath on your lips, your tongue as the breath comes in. You move your awareness now down to your throat. Can you feel the breath there? Breathing in and breathing out. I want you now, if you feel like it, to try and move your awareness to the whole of the body. Feeling the breath in and feeling the breath out, and the whole of your body. In a moment, we're going to end the breath meditation. Just take a second to notice how you feel about that. In your own time, you might want to start moving your hands and feet and having a bit of a wriggle. And you can open your eyes when you feel ready. So, usually that would be a bit longer than that, but I was just aware of the time. So I think if we have any questions for that, we'll save it for the questions at the end. This is my last slide, what was I going to say here? Everyday mindfulness. Yeah, just a little note about some of the more informal things that we could do, and perhaps you could also try doing this on your way home. You could try doing one thing mindfully. I don't think you're going to have a shower on the way home, but you might be walking to your car. Maybe do that mindfully. Thinking about how you're walking rather than talking to somebody or thinking about getting in the car and wherever you're going to next. Maybe you could just walk to the car thinking about your body and how you're moving. Slowing down is another really good one. That's been helpful for me when I drive. I used to drive quite fast everywhere, even when I don't need to drive fast. I've got plenty of time, but I still drive really fast to get there. But I don't know why I have to do that. Maybe I could just slow down, and that's what I try to do. Not that I ever went over the speed limit, but now I can go under the speed limit, and that's okay. Slowing down in the things that you're doing. This one is sort of leading on to taking a break. So, for example, you might be going to have a cup of tea and taking a break whilst you do that. But often you might put the kettle on to boil the water, and then you go and do something else whilst you're waiting for the kettle to boil. So maybe something you could try is standing by the kettle and having a mindful experience, either coming back to the breath, doing a quick body scan. No, just noticing that you don't have to do something else. You can just stand still or doing nothing for a minute or however long it takes for the kettle to boil. The other one, which I didn't write down, I'm just going to see if it will come back to me. Yes, it has, that's good, was taking in the positive. So we talked earlier about the positive experiences and my frying pan and it just coming right off. So how could we change that? One of the things that's quite good is about going into nature, if you enjoy going into nature, I guess, and finding something you find really enjoyable. Instead of just going, oh, that's a nice sunset, or that's a nice tree, or whatever, it's just really stopping and taking a few minutes just to actually really look at that tree or whatever it is and feeling positivity. So I said before, mindfulness isn't about being positive, but remember all those negative experiences, we're really looking out for those. So it's just about trying to redress the balance or making the positive come up a little bit. In my links and resources page, this book, Just One Thing, Developing a Buddha Brain One Simple Practice at a Time, is by the guy Rick Hanson, who talks about the Velcro and the Teflon. And he has lots of really, really good ideas for these little one things that you can do. That's in all good library, so I should then. So you don't even have to buy it. I've realised I've put links and resources, and they're all mostly books. There is the Breathworks site, which is really good, and it has a 3-minute breath space on there, which is free. You can just go on the internet and find it and do it any time. So if you Google Breathworks, that will come up. Headspace is another one that's quite good. You do have to pay, it's like a yearly subscription thing, but the first 10 meditations are free. And also it's just a really good website because it has loads of like the science bit, but that's sort of understandable. And there was one more that I written down because I knew I wasn't going to remember. Be Mindful Online, which is really good, and it's got loads of resources and information for anyone that's interested. And that's it. Thank you very much.